Hello and welcome to Getting Candid with me, your girl Helen. You are joining me from Le Dolphin Grand Paradiso Hotel in Roma, and thanks to Flow Boutique for my beautiful dress. Now, guys, there's always beliefs, our African beliefs, our Zambian beliefs that have been going on, and we haven't really figured out if they are real or not. Today we're talking about one tradition that most of us have believed, and we really believe these things exist. But I'm talking to a man that has experienced this and would like to speak out on the effect that this particular tradition has on him, or on different men, but particularly him because he experienced it. When a woman dies during labor, during delivery, the blame goes on the man because it is believed that a man is probably misbehaving or being with another woman during the time the wife is pregnant. It's called inshila. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. But yes, and men, it's been going on for years. But is this true? And what is the impact that it has on men? Last year, Reverend Simukonda lost his wife. Reverend Aaron Simukonda lost his wife while she was delivering. The child survived, but unfortunately, she died. Was it his fault? Let's hear it out in the next interview. Welcome back. I mentioned that I'll be chatting with Reverend Aaron Simukonda. Yes, we're going to talk about deep stuff. I think stuff that we all need to hear and understand, especially from somebody who's experienced the situation. How are you, Reverend?
I'm okay, and how are you, Helen?
Good to see you after a long time.
Sure, the pleasure is mine.
Yeah, how have you been though?
I've been okay. We are learning to walk again.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay, so my condolences. This is the first time I'm seeing you after you lost your wife. So
sure.
How's the family doing? How are the kids doing?
So far so good.
Yeah?
We are picking up the pieces.
Okay.
Sure.
And the baby?
The baby is okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, that's good to hear. So obviously it was a tough experience where you're excited. Everyone is excited to have a baby. But then in receiving a baby, you lose a wife. How was that for you?
Very tough, very heartbreaking. Let me say all the words that are bad that you can think of.
Yeah.
Shocking, and especially that it's not something, okay, let me say it's a least. I know death is there, but obviously it's the least you expect, and looking at someone who's so young, and so when that came, it was something else. And especially that the time that I got the news, it was just like 1 hour, 30 minutes when I was talking to her over the phone, and she was assuring me everything is okay. So it was difficult to just put everything together.
Yeah.
Sure.
So even during the pregnancy, there was no signs of any complications. It was just...
No. A bit of background, let me say, she was a medical personnel. She was a nurse, so meaning that from day one, she followed those procedures like antenatal, going there. The only concern was maybe 2 weeks before when she was diagnosed with BP. Okay, and that is mainly the BP that is induced, pregnancy-induced BP. Oh, okay. Not necessarily that she had BP.
Yeah.
And immediately she started resting and was on medication. So the day when she was admitted, everything was normal. So there's nothing that we can really point out to say this was an issue. Yes.
Okay, so what was the main cause? It was the BP that caused it?
Yes. Medically, they say it's eclampsia, meaning that in simple terms, maybe layman's language, her BP short, and she fitted, and she died actually even before the baby came out.
Oh no.
Yes, so they had to move in fast and to cut her fast just to save the baby. And that's why the baby also just after, maybe let me say from a time of the mother's death, she was for about 5 days on a ventilator. So it was some tough experience. Yeah. You're putting the mother to rest and then the baby's on the ventilator.
Yeah, yes, that's tough.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just thinking about the myths that we talked about this week, that are surrounded by whenever a woman dies during the delivery, the blame is usually on the man. Yeah. Did you experience that?
Not from the two families. That is my family and the family. But obviously, you know, you expect that with Africans and the ATR. So some people are like, obviously, the time
Yeah.
and all that. And some, I would say, lack of a better term, some courageous individuals had to come to me to say, oh, please tell us.
They did?
Yes.
When you're in that situation, somebody's asking you that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it's where like you feel like you can beat someone.
Yeah, that's true.
And you are, let me say, on the weakest point of your life. And then somebody asks you that. And then you're raising questions within yourself. Then if that was the case, then what happens?
Yeah.
You know, and what is all this? And but it's not something that really moved me, though emotionally, it added some sort to the wound, because already and then people think like that. But again, you understand to say, this is African, so people think, some, let me not just be so inclusive. Some people think like that, and but I felt bad that if someone, maybe a leader in society, can experience that, what about what I would call maybe just a person, they're an individual. So I felt that some people maybe are really victimized, and probably we must begin to talk about them and begin to bring sense to all this, because scientifically and even maybe biologically, if you want, it's not adding up. Yeah, it's not adding up, as in, you know, the whole connection. Yeah.
Yeah, because, okay, I think that's what we want to understand, because maternal death is there.
Yes,
it happens every day.
Yes.
So are we going to say every time somebody dies, no, the man is doing something wrong. No, the man is doing something wrong. How would you, as the church, because even in church people would talk. How do you think
the people we are talking are not people from outside
the church, right?
The church,
yeah. So like you are the church and you are believing this. How do you think this can be changed? Like, especially, how can the church come in? Because obviously scientifically they'll tell you it's not possible.
Yes.
So this is something that you say it's traditions, spiritual stuff. So maybe the church needs to come in. Is there a way a church will come in and say, guys, we need to change this language?
Yes, and that's why somehow that's why I've taken this route to speak out. In most cases, everyone expects me to be quiet and probably be silent. Yes. But personally, I feel like we need to speak out. Like on my page, I started writing and speaking out. Yesterday, I was doing some interview somewhere talking about the same. I feel we have been too silent on this matter for too long. Okay, and traditionally people teach or people prepare people when they're getting into marriage, and probably they mention about this, and we've not really brought them in public and to talk about them because we think it's a taboo. But in actual sense, people have been abused, people have been victimized. So I feel the church must begin to talk about this on the pulpit. For instance, I'll take an example of our church. We always have what we call a health Sunday. And mainly it was called, by then it was called HIV Sunday, and we'll talk about HIV and AIDS and all this. But when it comes to such matters, we are so silent. And yesterday, I think there was a report from the Ministry of Health that weekly we lose about 15 women.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, 15 women every week on maternal death. So I was calculating, say, that's about 60 in a month, and 720, a minimum. 720 in a year. And obviously those are people that maybe go through the facilities. What about those others? So I still feel the church has got a role. Maybe we must begin to talk about this, not just maybe like saying fiamuchalo, because again I've learned something. I've heard where on the pulpit as pastors say, you don't need to worry. Even if you don't go to the hospital, you still deliver well. God is in control. No. For me, I feel we need to repackage the gospel in terms of the reality and spirituality. We must strike a balance between reality and spirituality. Whether we like it or not, these things are there, and we must confront them. Sure.
Okay, we take a break, then we continue chatting after this.
Not a problem.
Alrighty, now let's take a break. But on this break, I'm going to chat with two young men, Jack and Mutula. They have something they're calling Royal Talent. They want to promote talent, different talents. If you have a talent and you want to showcase it somewhere, I think this is an interview that you need to listen to. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, thank you.
Welcome to the program, Jack and Mutula.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're always talking about promoting talent and seeing different talents and seeing the arts industry, especially in Zambia, grow and takes us places. And you guys came up with Royal Talents. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're basically a group of youth that came up with an idea to create a platform to, to give the people out there, even those who can't afford to show their talents and those who want to be seen. So that was the whole point of the whole concept behind it.
Okay, and when did you start?
We started in 2018. That was our first talent show in December. We had the grand prize, we had a winner, we had everything was successful. We found out that we had a good fan base and we decided to continue growing in those directions.
Okay, and how has it been so far?
So far, it's been very good, positive growth. Like right now, we are trying to build, our platform, build our social media platforms and every kind of platforms that are out there, TV stations, radio stations. Yeah, I feel like we're growing in the positive direction.
The response is actually very good on these things, no matter how small.
Okay, so when you say talent, and most of the time talent shows are basically about music, most of them about singing. If it goes diverse, maybe it's just dancing.
Yeah.
What kind of talent are you guys welcoming?
Well, we're welcoming every kind of talent, actually. So the past year that we've had the corona pandemic, the usual, we've been trying to do online challenges where we give people an opportunity to show what they can do. We'll have different kinds of challenges like movie studio challenge where we'll tell you, create a trailer, like 2-minute trailer, then the best actors win. That's like in the acting industry. Then we'll do singing, we'll give you a beat. Then we'll say rap to this beat, then the best rappers win. Then it's all different kinds of challenges.
The concept is whatever talent you have, as long as it's you can showcase it, as long as you can stand on the stage and make a presentation, it's valid. So it can be art. Of course, you not go there to paint, but if you can put up an act which can wow people, then that talent is valid. So it's pretty much any talent you can showcase.
Yeah.
Who is eligible to participate? And where do they find you? What are the names if they want to be part of?
Okay, so we accept any age. There's no age limit.
Oh, okay. So as much as it for the youth, even if you're not a youth, you can still participate?
Yes, you can still participate.
Okay.
So you have like 13, like at our last one, the youngest was like 10, 13 or something. Yeah, she was rapping. Yeah, she was rapping.
Oh, nice.
So she just came from church group, choir group. So she just came in. So any age, because talent knows no boundaries. So we try and open our doors to everyone out there.
Okay. How does one apply to be part of the talent shows or even these online challenges they're doing?
You can use our platform because when we post a bunch of instructions as well, where you can submit your content using our Facebook platform or Instagram, or even our email. If you have a link, maybe your file is too big, you link us the email. And then, but for this one which is coming, it's going to be quite bigger, like a TV series. So the advertisements will be everywhere, like on TV, on radio. So I think the applications will be broader than the online challenges.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so people can just follow you on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, PIICKR, and you find us everywhere. So YouTube, Facebook. We usually post our instructions for the challenges on YouTube. So if you just search Royal Talent or Picker, you'll find them there. We usually have them like monthly or weekly if possible. And we try and, make them like different kinds of challenges.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, anything that you'd want to add before we...
Okay, so yeah, this new Royal Talent 2021 that we're about to launch is going to be bigger, it's going to be better. We've got partners on board. We've got Mr. Mao Sampa, Kapembo Angelani, yeah, as our brand ambassador, yeah, Mr. Kapembo Angelani, Mr. DJ Mzengeman, and many more influencers. And yeah, last time we didn't have like these people on board, so this time you can know that the prize money is gonna be way bigger.
Do you have an idea? Maybe I can come and audition.
Very much, you're very much welcome. Yeah, well, very much welcome.
Okay.
So we're going to launch like very soon.
Okay, great. Looking forward to that, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You have heard what you have to hear. If you want to participate, do follow them on their social media handles and showcase your talent. You never know what happens tomorrow. Welcome back. I'm still chatting with Reverend Simukonda, and I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. So we were just talking about how obviously the church is not talking about these things. How do you think the church can strike a balance between tradition and reality? Because there's usually a lot of conflict, not just even with Martin. There's a lot of things that come in conflict with the church. This is not supposed to be done. This is what. How can they come to terms with these three things: church, reality, tradition?
Okay, maybe let me start from this angle, Helen. One thing that you and I must know is that we are African Christians. Yeah. Why do I start from there? It means we have a certain tradition that is embedded in our culture or in our way of life, obviously. And so when we're talking about tradition, tradition is not, it's conservative. It's not like culture, which is dynamic. So meaning that when we're talking about culture, we're talking about food, the way we dress, and those things can change. Yeah. But obviously there are certain teachings that are passed on from generation to generation, and they are part of us. And those things, cannot be changed. So meaning that even when you receive Christ as your personal savior, you're still embedded in that tradition. You have these beliefs, and they are part of you. But the challenge that we've had is that sometimes there are some traditions, some which are in conflict with the beliefs, that is the Christian beliefs. And there are times that we've decided probably maybe to be so cosmetic, we look at them as if they are not there. For me, we must begin to look at these traditions, talk about them in our churches. It will be a taboo, obviously from a traditional point of view, but then people still know this. Yes. People still go behind the church if you want and do the same things. So the best is we must play a prophetic role. So when I use the prophetic role, I'm not trying to say, Papa browse me and such kind of stuff. No, yeah. I'm trying to say we must speak out the way things are. We say, okay, let us look at this tradition. If you talk about Inchila, because that's the issue we're talking about, honestly, how is it real? In which sense are we looking at? In terms of our beliefs as Christians, do these things really happen? Or then in terms of the way we treat the widows and widowers, are we really looking at this from this angle? What does the Bible say? In line with our tradition. So the moment we begin to look at that, it will be easier for people to understand. I remember in schools then, children at a certain stage were not learning reproductive health or sexual health. But nowadays, my daughter is only 5, and then will ask you something, and it's like, you have to do the homework with her. Yes. And these are issues. So you can't just say, no, we can't do this. Obviously, you ask why. So you have to do them. So even the church, we cannot bury our heads in the sand. The problem is there. So we have to talk about this. We have to speak out. We have to confront them. We have to strike a balance on who we are in terms of identity as Africans and our traditions, but also looking at our beliefs as Christians. For me, that is a proposal that I would like to submit to all of us so that we move forward. Because, I experience it, and, obviously to those who, because I can't go out there trying to prove myself, no, it's not Indian. And so obviously others probably have believed, and others, and so it is not maybe traumatizing to others, but to an individual who's involved in it, and I want to imagine he is a person who's probably is not standing in the faith, so anything can happen. Yes. So before maybe we go that route, for me I feel, let's speak out, let's talk about tradition. Yeah. Let's talk about these things. If we are preparing people into marriage, it's not just a question of making a declaration. Happiness will be your portion. Yes. Joy will be. Things happen. No. Let's prepare them. Let's talk about these things and how real these issues are, or the intentions. Which I want to believe that when people talk about Inchila, the issue that they are bringing is that they are trying to promote fidelity. It's not necessarily that those things I think I tend to argue. But obviously our forefathers were trying to promote fidelity, how this person is supposed to be faithful to the other person, and how this person is supposed to support this woman who's pregnant. Yeah.
Because, and I'm just thinking, you're saying at least your two families were not accusing
there are no
you of anything.
issues, no.
Now I'm imagining somebody who's, maybe the family is accusing him of saying you are the cause of this thing. How do you even get out of that? So now it tells me that also, because they say men don't cry. I'm imagining how a man will be feeling after that,
yes.
being accused of having caused the death of the wife. Even though he was cheating, but maybe he wasn't directly involved. How do they get away from that? So maybe you people need to start talking to men that have been through this. I don't know if they've healed. You are saying, have you healed from somebody asking you that? Have you gotten over that?
Okay, Helen, let me tell you something. If I told you to say, I have been healed from my loss, then I'll be telling you a lie.
Yeah.
But what has happened is that I have accepted what has happened. There's a difference between accepting and healing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first step is acceptance. Okay, this has happened, whether you like it or not. And the real issue is that what you cannot reverse, you have to accept. So this is beyond me. I cannot reverse it. I have accepted. And for me, that's where now the steps, that's why maybe when you ask me how I'm doing, I said, we are learning to walk again. So it's a process. We are starting. But these are issues that they come, they're flashes. You know, there are times that sometimes I lock myself in a room, cry. And I don't believe when people say men should not cry. Those are emotions. And if you hold them within yourself, you die faster than anything. And and it will be so catastrophic. Like in my case, the firstborn is 9, the secondborn is 5, and then a 4-month baby. And obviously, the inspiration now is me. So obviously, any irresponsible behavior, like holding things up, will not help matters. So for me, I feel we should face them out. These are flashes that people come and they're like, honestly, why should I behave like that? And it has not been my lifestyle, okay? Because, misbehaving, you don't just start misbehaving. It's something that has to start from somewhere and all that. And then you look at that, and they bother you. And there are times that I'm bothered sometimes, but honestly, and there are times that I feel like, but why did that person say that?
Yeah.
And then I realize it's not even worth it. Because honestly, even if we started like, okay, let me prove myself, where am I going to start from? So it's not even worth the trouble. But I want to believe that some people would act differently. They may go into depression, isolate. And to make matters worse, if the support system, by support system I'm focusing on the families, if there's nothing coming from the families, it will be tough. Yeah. Because for me, today I'm able to speak to you, it's because from both families I've received a lot of support. It's like just this morning someone was calling me, trying to find out my sister's elder sister, how are you doing, how is everything, do you need help, and all that. So now imagine where the other part is saying, yeah,
because that's what I'm imagining, and I'm thinking, how do you heal from that?
And if there are issues, maybe, because in most cases I want to believe that if there are, we must look at the track record, how these people have lived. If there are issues, obviously, everything will be worse. So it would be tough. But for me, I still feel, let's talk about this, but also let us support the people. Let's begin to, not just maybe in terms of after 2 days, because honestly, like in my case, the mourning period started when everyone had left.
Yeah.
That's when I started feeling that, yes, and like, where even the room where I used to enter, like the bedroom, it was something else. Everything was something else. You've lost direction. You feel like you're closed up. Nothing is making sense, and it had to take. Really, you pray, where you pray, but still you feel like even when you're praying, the reality is still there. It's like, okay, but obviously God has got a way in which He comforts us. That's what I can say. That's how this is where we are today. But it's really, really something else. Also, whatever people do, whatever people say, maybe during and after the burial, still sticks to this person. And afterwards, that's when now everything now comes into play. So that's where, for me, I'm proposing that the support system, apart from just speaking out, let's engage the people, let's speak to them, let us understand, but also a bigger understanding on maternal health. It will really help.
Thank you so much. That's a lot. That's a good topic, and I think we really need to look into it. Because those days when you just hear about it, but to talk to somebody who's actually experienced it has given me a lot of thought about those people that didn't have a support system, those people that were blamed by the families. I think that's a lot to take in.
Yes.
So I wish you all the best, and I hope you get the support
Thank
from
you.
the church.
Yes.
The churches should start speaking out
Yeah.
today,
You are
because
right.
I think we need to get through that.
But also, let me maybe appeal to the men out there. I've learned something that in terms of support system, but even men, as men, we should be supportive to our women, our wives. Meaning that from the first day that someone says, I've conceived, there should be that sense of like, what next?
Yeah.
Have you gone for antenatal? Have you gone for this? Such that there is that, support from that angle. Because like in my case, we used to go to the hospital, drive to the hospital and all that. And in those queues, I would see antenatal queues, it's a very few men normally will be there. But
that's true.
Yes, and you only see women. But I still feel we can do better. That support should start from there. And also from a home setup, there are certain barriers that must be broken. I am learning now because I have to run a home as a father, as a mother, as well as a pastor.
Yeah.
And so meaning that there are certain things that I would sit with my remote and say, okay, but this time around I have to be there. I have to know is cooking oil and all that, obviously. And I've come to conclude, say some people end up marrying maybe after 6 months because of this. And they create problems for themselves. Yeah, because obviously they are marrying for convenience, not because they are so much into it or anything. So I still feel men can support. We can fight maternal health by really making sure that we encourage our women to go for antenatal and avoid these traditional beliefs where people maybe just chewing charms and chewing roots to say it will be fine, you deliver, it will help in whatever. I think we must look at the normal procedures, be there, let's see, and if there is any concern, even from the church, let us not just spiritualize and say, no, I pray for a safe delivery. Yes, let us pray for a safe delivery, but let's back it up by them going to the medical facilities.
That's true.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Reverend.
The pleasure is mine.
Okay, so I hope this was very insightful. We hear about these things. We've seen some people that we believe went through this and they were caused by the husband, but to hear it from somebody who went through it, I think there's change that needs to take place. I hope you enjoyed the episode and join us next week. From me, your girl Hellen. Bye-bye.